Okay, can everybody see me okay and hear me? Oh, that's great. Listen, one of the reasons I wanted to do a live today, and I put it on there early enough so we could get a few people in here. Uh, of course, I got you in there more clickbait than anything with the talking about monetary. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about reasons why people do monetize or not. And most of you know that my standpoint is, for me, it wouldn't be the right thing to do, and it allows me to talk about subjects that I might not talk about if I was monetized. Let's put it that way. In other words, I don't have anything to lose, and well, I shouldn't say that. I could lose this channel anytime if you get enough gripes against you and strikes and things like that. And by the way, I think I said hi to the few that are in here already. Other than, let's see, there's somebody on there I missed. Lorraine, thank you for being here. Mike, Ed, Road King, Pebs. I appreciate all of you coming in. And Tony, yeah, I see. Okay. Uh, this thing about monetization, part of it can cause problems. And all of you know that one of the ties that most of us have, or common things between us, is that we're trying to help out uh, John and Michelle and little Harley, but also most everybody that has been on at least this channel here, they've been a little tired of the bullying tactics of Jeremy. And I got to thinking about it. You know, I was on a channel live not too long ago, and one of the remarks was about not agreeing with the creator, and the term used elderly uh, people or person that doesn't agree or doesn't like this character named David. His last initial, or his initial is R. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce his last name, but he was kind of like a gift horse. And nobody knew exactly what or why he was throwing out those gifts. And I've never seen anything like it before. I was in Super Dave's chat, Super Chat on Super Dave. And this guy was awarding everybody on their memberships. And I tell you what, it was exciting. And it really picked up the spirits of Super Dave. And, he's a great fellow. I really think a lot of him. And I know his feelings probably, he was trying to figure out, with all this going on, it puts it hard on a creator whether they should accept the gifts or not. And it's not so much whether you accept it, but I guess what you're willing to give up or whatever you're willing to do for it. And when I looked at it, I realized probably one of the reasons that I didn't monetize is I didn't want to be beholden to somebody that was a big donor. The years of doing business with different people, I realized the influence that money has on you as an individual. And I'll have to admit, I unfairly judged a couple of people in this, this whole circle of people that we all got together for a common cause, but we had our individual thoughts about the people involved. So the chat I was in the night that I was getting a little upset, and I did leave, was in Guapos. I think a lot of Guapo. So I don't want, just because I didn't like the way he used elderly in his chat, okay, I'm elderly. I earned that. I walked a path that was full of stones all my life. And I got to the point where I earned the right to be elderly. But I didn't want it to be used like a stick. And that's what I felt that night, that it was used in that manner rather than, in other words, it wasn't a compliment. And initially I was upset. But on the other hand, Guapo has more going for him. And he made a decision that he would like to receive those gifts. And who am I to say, no, that shouldn't be? I mean, if my actions should not cause him problems. And I didn't realize how it was getting to some of these people, but there was people from other chats come in and started attacking me over my views. And, I understand that too, I guess. I made it known that I didn't care to be called names. And to me, an elderly gentleman, it's a title that I earned, not that I run from or that I'm sorry I'm there. On the contrary, being elderly is a reward for all the years that I worked so hard, raised a family. I got to the end of the road where my working life was over, and I was lucky enough to have a loving wife that's still here. She didn't leave, I didn't leave, and we both are enjoying our retirement years together. The good Lord blessed us, quite frankly. And I forget how hard that path is. And for all you guys that are creators and that you have your own channels out there, it is a hard decision one way or the other what you're going to do to maintain that base. The base is probably one of the hardest things to keep up with. And I know that. And you rely on those to supply you with the financial things that it takes to exist from day to day. Just like when I was in my working years, the things I had to do to keep my job. And you wonder sometimes, why did you jump through the different hoops? Because no matter what, whoever signs your check, you have to bow to their wishes until you find another job if you don't like the job you're in. So here I was judging Guapo on his beliefs, and really it was unfair by me. And I don't blame him for getting upset with me when I was upset with him. It's not my place to tell any of you that you shouldn't do a certain way, especially when it comes to the monetary end of it. And yeah, my feelings got hurt a little bit to have elderly used as a stick rather than a title. You see, there's a difference in it. And I did put a video up about the difference in gifts. Using the flowers as a gift that nobody questions, but when it's monetary, everybody questions what you did with it and what you're going to do with it, who you got it from. All kinds of questions come around monetary gifts that are cash. But nobody thinks anything about getting flowers delivered other than, boy, are they so lucky they got flowers on their dining room table today. That's the difference. Now, when all this started coming down, I did put it out there to the channels that I was following that I wouldn't make comments in there if they didn't wish me to into their channels. And that, it's one of those things where I questioned a person that goes in there and they start making problems for the people that are there. Number one, why was it that the common denominator was only people that had some problems with Jeremy? That was the number one question. Initially, I thought they were against Michelle and John. And the reason I thought that was, it was most of the people involved with this were people that were backing Michelle and John and little Harley. The gifts were coming out there. Well, with Guapo, it's an individual battle between Guapo and Jeremy. It has nothing to do with anybody else out there that's doing anything. And yet this guy came in and was also gifting Guapo. So that changed the common denominator of the channels that he was going around. So then I'm thinking, okay, this guy don't like Jeremy. And I did some research, and I wanted to see what causes people to be that way. Why would, because monetary gifts have strings. And I want you to all think about that a little bit. What would you do if somebody supported you and gave you the biggest portion of your income come from one person? You would be somewhat beholden to them if they made a request and you didn't follow it, and the monetary gains would be gone. Okay. And I was looking at it from that standpoint. So I Googled up scenario, let's put it that way, of what was going on. Because, what the heck, maybe I'm wrong. And it comes up as with a title called narcissistic. And it's only one of the traits that a narcissist have. Just one, okay? They buy into your life and then demand things from you. Now, the people that receive it, they can't help it. Somebody offers them something. The old saying, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. So when it comes down to it and you accept the gift, it's up to you whether you're going to follow that person or not. It is not up to somebody like me to tell you how to proceed. That's whatever's in your heart. You proceed that way. In the world of business, and I've been asked to do a lot of things that were not Christian to do in business. Big business, the bosses, if you work for them, when you get into a certain position above middle management, there's a lot of times you're having to do the dirty work for whoever is above it. When they come out and they say, make it so, it's a demand. And it's one of the hardest things to work under. Even in the later years, the company I loved would make demands. If I had a rainy day and I knew the project was getting behind, they said, well, you had to figure out how to get it back on schedule. And you would look at them and say, have you got any ideas? And they said, you're the man on the job. You're going to figure it out, but you're going to get it done. And one time I was on a job site, and it was about this time of the year. And a lot of people working for us were union personnel, and they were working through subcontractors. We were the general on the job. And it was bad. It was windy. Wind chill was like 50 below, 60 below. And one of the project managers called me up and said, what are you doing at home? And I said, there's no work going on. The job site's closed. And he said, you can't do that. I said, I can't get to work. The roads are bad. He said, well, I got to work. And I thought, yeah, he lives in town. I live out of town 70, 80 miles away, and I'm going to drive 80 miles to get to the job site on roads that are partially closed. Come on. And the guy was dead serious. And the client actually had got on his case because there was nobody on the job site. Well, problem there was that our union contracts said that if it gets 20 degrees, and that's above, and that's Fahrenheit, 20 degrees Fahrenheit above zero, they don't have to work on anything below that, period. No excuses. You can't go after them for that. And I explained to him, I said, nobody's going to show up because of the union contracts we have. Tell them they don't have to, and they're not going to get out there and work in this kind of weather. I said, it's foolish. Well, I can tell you there for a while, the project manager and I didn't get along very well because, he wanted me to do something I couldn't do. It was impossible. But they signed my paycheck, and it was a good paycheck. I couldn't afford just to quit. And so be it. You get in a situation like that, and here we are, we're out there, and we're the base for these different channels. And sometimes we demand things that really we wouldn't put up with ourselves. And it's not fair to those creators because they, believe me, the ones that I'm following out there, it is so hard for them to put a channel up. They're doing a lot of filming that we don't even see. And they have to go through it, scan it, make sure everything is okay, that it meets the standards of what the YouTube, that they don't step on somebody's copyrights, that they don't, and they're trying not to hurt feelings at the same time because they don't want to lose us as a base. They just don't. And the decisions they make are for the betterment of their channel. And the monetary base is there because Without it, they're not going to exist. So do me a favor, as much as much as I get out there and I give you my personal feelings about something, please don't take it out on them. And I didn't realize how bad it would be received until I received some people from the other channels getting on my case. And uh, one of the people sent me uh, a sermon of somebody that they listen to that has apparently a channel and is a minister. And when I looked through it, I thought, I better start rethinking the things that I do because I feel I'm a good Christian, and I realize that I don't walk on water, and I don't want any of you to feel that way either. And I would want you to take another look at this thing. We all have something in common, and we want to help people out there that are in need. I think all of us here in my channel and in these other channels, I truly believe they have big hearts. And I love the fact that we get together and express it and show our love of each other and what we're doing, and that we get to see the fruits of our labor. I mean, how many of you, when you look over there and you see this fence up, a beautiful fence for Michelle and John and Harley, and feel good about it? You're warm in your heart. And you know that there's a lot of people that they look at it and it upsets their stomach because they hate so bad that they don't want these people to enjoy any type of a good life. And that is not what Christ would want. He would want them to come to the Lord and to live a Christian life. It doesn't mean that they had a Christian life before. It just means that he would go to them and help them out so that they can move in that direction. I guess what I'm trying to get you across to you is that there are people out there that are going to abuse those gifts that have been given to them. And the judge of all of them will be our Lord. Just as he judges us, he will judge them. And they will pay for it one way or the other. The people think they can get away with something, they can't. The one thing you can change is your heart. You can take the hate out and bring the love back in there and fill it back up, and your heart will be healthy for it. When this battle started all of a sudden, and I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, hey, I think a lot of all these people, it's been such a nice ride. Let's not kick each other out of our car because we're pissed off about something they did. Let's everybody get in the car and ride together to the things that we want. Okay? So, and I don't want anybody to get mad because I'm calling this out. Believe me. The worst thing we can do is fight with each other, whether it's in a chat or going on somebody's channel and berating them. We don't want to do that. Now, there's nothing wrong with giving your opinion and saying, hey, look, I don't believe in that way, but you have a right to your opinion. And the name calling becomes something that's hard to take back. Such as if you use elderly on me as a stick rather than a title. In my mind, elderly is a great place to be. And I've told you different times how happy I am that I reached this age. And it's not what I can't do that I worry about. It's the things that I can do and it fills my day up with all the great things that I can do. And there's a lot of times all I want to do is sit in my easy chair in the living room, kick back and watch maybe a special program on TV, or enjoy, like the other day, the anniversary with my wife. It brings up good memories of all the years. We have never missed an anniversary together. And, sometimes that's hard to do, especially in construction, because a lot of times in construction, you're moving from one place to another or whatever you have to do, especially if it's the higher up type construction that I was involved in. And in a nuclear plant, it's almost impossible because you have to be there every day. You can't be gone. I could name 100,000 times probably of where I had to make choices, and some of them weren't in the best interest of my family and me. I was trying to hold down to a job that was a necessity to put groceries on the table. So, Guapo, if for some reason you're upset because of the way I feel about my status as being elderly or in my opinion, I'm true to my word. I said that I would not go on a channel where I was not welcome. And I want you to understand that's the way I feel. And I offered that same thing to the other channels that I actually participate in. Now, most of them, and I'll say that I was invited back to the channels. So, Guapo, believe me, you're welcome in my channel anytime. And I'm not going to say your views are wrong. You have your own reasons for doing the things that you do. And I have respected your rights to set the rules in your channel. That's just the way I believe. And I would do nothing to bring your channel down. I absolutely will do nothing. And I ask anybody that's in my channel not to go over there and go after him. There are people in his channel have come here and tried to knock me down. And I don't think it makes me bad, the things that I feel about, because it's my opinion, and all of you know that I make this opinion. But in the same fact, each of you, including all you people that have channels out there, you guys have that same right, and I don't want to take it away from you. And I'm not going to. I'm not even going to try. Okay. So I hope I haven't upset you people to a fact of, I've always said you can come and go as you wish. And that's just your choice. But it's also a choice of how upset you get if somebody attacks me. I can handle most of it, and most of it I do. I have a sharp tongue because you've seen how I've answered some of the comments. And sometimes I just remove them because they don't make sense, okay? And the ones lately, I've made a lot of them disappear. I got a 3-paragraph lecture the other day. Now, it kind of went in one ear and out the other. But the one that got me most was when somebody sent me a minister that was preaching, and I watched the entire thing. Okay. Now it wasn't a long sermon, but it did kind of let me know that I could have been making judgments that I wasn't entitled to. So there I said it. Okay. Bear with me. We'll still get through everything. And being Christian, I know we're supposed to turn our cheek. And I told you over and over, I'm not a person that does that. And I probably will never be that person that turns my cheek. When somebody comes after me, I immediately go on the attack. It's not a defensive thing. And it's been my downfall a few times. I've ended up in the hospital twice over my lifetime when I got into it. If I would have been smart enough, I wouldn't have done it. But I got into it with more than one person at a time, and walked into some pretty good beatings and ended up in the hospital. I can't whip the world, and I know that. So over the years, I got a lot smarter. And as I got older, the realization that I couldn't fight them battles. But nowadays, the battles are verbal and mental. So instead of fighting all this, it hasn't been that long ago I said, I want to help build rather than tear down. And that's still my intent. I am involved in this thing. And my real intent right now, my focus, is to make sure that John and Michelle and little Harley are going to have a better life, okay? And I want to see this through to the day that there's peace in that family, for that family, and that they feel that way at the same time. In other words, when the peace is given out, they'll be a follower of that same principle. And it's hard to go from a fighting mode to a peaceful mode. It's really hard. When you're in the military and you go from hating an enemy to having to back off from that, is very hard. To this day, I have a hard time with the people that were enemies of our country back in the 60s. But I have to live with it. Some of those people are here in the United States as real citizens now, and they're part of our country, not anything else. They become Americans in some way or the other, and some of them are third generation Americans. It would be wrong for me to have those same feelings through those same people that I may have pointed a rifle at one time or another, or at least as far as a race. So with all that, now, like I did before, I'm going to rely on looking at the chat, and why I'm here was over this, and I put on there that to monetize or not or whatever to bring people in here, more almost like a clickbait. Whether it's wrong or right, that's only up to the people that's the creator of that particular channel. What's right for them may not be right for me. It would be unfair for them to tell me what to do on my channel, as it would be unfair for me to tell them what to do on their channel. And if we go by that, then the people that like the different channels should have the right to go from one channel to the other without having everybody go in there and raise Cain with them, as long as they're respectful to the channel's basic rules that they've set. That is the only thing I really did when I went into the channels around there. And just about everybody has said that I'm welcome back. Now, Super Dave, I feel bad, and I haven't heard from him lately. And I know he's probably going over accepting or not accepting his gifts, because Super Dave has a big heart. And when he goes on there, he believes in what he's talking about. And I would like to see him be able to come on and put a video up, because they're refreshing, they're to the point, and they show him. He puts himself in every single video. So for Super Dave, we should do everything we can to make him welcome into here. And I want you to understand something. He does not have a whole lot of money, but he's handling it in a very good manner. He has tried to set up equipment so that he can put on a better show for us. In other words, the money that came in from these super chats and all that, a lot of it went back to building his studio back up and support him in his endeavors. He's got to eat like all the rest of us do. It's the same thing for Guapo. If anybody out there has ever met anybody with a big heart, he does. He gets an overabundance of something, such as school supplies. If you remember, he helped people that needed it with school supplies. His labor, his money, and his choice, and he gave it all away. Somebody come into his channel and he feels that that person feels like he does. That's natural. They came in, gave him money to do giveaways. There were strings that you don't always know what comes with a gift. That doesn't mean you can't break a string. You can still use your heart to do what you want. Now, I know he felt good giving all those gifts away, because it was a pass-through. So when we look out there at all that, now I don't know what this guy is like that's giving the gifts. I do know that I don't like the things that he said in the chats. He attacked the very base of each of these channels in the chat. But that's just me. Each of you will have to make a distinction of how you feel about it. For me, it's real easy. I'm not dependent on this thing. My whole life, I worked hard, and I had to do things that I didn't want to do over those years to earn money for my table. And so I don't want to go in here and tell anybody out there that they're wrong in accepting money from somebody that has done things such as that. But it won't change my mind whether I like them or not. You see, I'm not easily swayed monetarily. Sometimes you don't have a choice. And recognizing that is what will help you get along to your next step, all of you. So, all right, well, let's try to get into the chat and see how you feel about it. I hope I didn't wear myself or my message out. Please don't let me bore you. We can always talk about meals. That's one thing I can talk 24 hours a day about, because most of you realize I love food. Okay, let's get in here. It says, I love Super Dave. I do too. Let's get him back on here. Okay. Let's see. To Lisa, I put up a private video for you. Read description first. Let me know if you got my PayPal too. That's from Lori to Lee's in a pod. I'm sorry. It's for Lisa. Road King, I subbed also. Jeremy Martha are the devil. They do some devilish things for sure. Brendan says, me too, Ray. Road King says, true, Ray. G. Louise. Neither am I, Mr. Ray. Hey, Ray, I agree, Ray. Carol says, hi, Ray Bone Crusher, good to see you. Miyagi said, hashtag, we love Ray Bone Crusher. I think that was a carryover from Two Leaves in a Pod. So, Road King says, your opinion is welcome and puts things in perspective. It's still, each of you, I want you to understand, you have to make your own decisions on things like that. I just don't want to steer you in the wrong condition, the wrong position in the wrong way. It's sometimes you have to use your heart in your decisions. Says, I would be willing to forgive if there was an apology from the donor, but I doubt that it will ever happen, honestly. I don't even know anything about that donor. I do know that when you give gifts and then you start fights and say the things you do, it takes away from the gift itself. And using money to control people is not a good thing. I don't care who it is that does that. It says, Ray, I'm sure Guapo will welcome you into the chat. I've been with him for 5 years as a mod, and it was all misunderstood. I don't know. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. It's his channel, and I'm not going to trespass. Okay. We're a diverse group that came together and built a fence with love. We did. And, the thing of it is that fence allowed for a certain amount of protection and privacy that was needed. When I see that out there, I'm really happy. And I guess you could say I'm proud of how it came out. There was a lot of people who got together, including neighbors out there. And the biggest person for building that fence, obviously, was Lisa and Tori. They and Rob, they worked their butts off and did everything possible to get that thing built. And we owe them a big debt of gratitude for carrying out our wishes. They did the work. We did the wishing and praying and some of the donations, but the real pudding was put together and cooked by Lisa, Tori, and Robbie out there. And of course, Thomas was a part of it. All of you know Thomas. There's so many were involved in that. I mean, it's hard to go over the number of names. We're talking a lot of people that got in there and got a job done. I'm so happy that it happened. Bonnie said, I heard Guapo's tone and nastiness. He was serious, and he has not cleared it up if it was misunderstood. I understand, and like I say, we all have our moments, and you guys have seen me when I was upset with something on here, most of you that have followed my channel. It's hard to have an excuse for losing a temper. It happens because we're human, that's all. It says, Ray, you could email him. Sure, there's a way for you two to hash it out. It's not, believe me, it doesn't matter whether we hash it out or not. We're both from different generations, and we have our different reasons for being on here. Please, you, forcing two people back together would not work in any way. It's just one of those things: you either grow apart or you grow together. It's like almost like a marriage. Oh, I know he gets carried away, but he doesn't mean it in that situation. The way I think he felt pressured. There was a lot of pressure on him. Uh, I realize that, and I agree that there is. Uh, Ed, don't start. Ray has asked our opinion in this, and I'm giving it. Okay. Uh, Fubar says, Ray, I was a mod on Super Dave, and I stopped, though I wouldn't be fair on him with my differences on the donor. I couldn't stay neutral, so better to walk away. I'm not neutral. You know that, Fubar. I agree. I don't care for the donor. I think there's more to it than what we see, but uh, I think he purposely started some of the stuff that's going on, the fighting in here, and we don't want to give in to somebody that is doing that, is orchestrating it. Uh, when it comes to a conductor, his music stinks, quite frankly. Uh, let's see. It says, "Come on, people. Guapo knows what is going on. His silence is your answer." But listen, he's got to think about things, and he's got, uh, his he's got a base that it's been hard for him. When him and Jeremy got into their battle, it cost him a certain amount of people in there. That was a big deal. And now we've got somebody come along and offered him something that was net to bring him back up. I hope it works out. Period. Oh, let's see. Demon Cat. That's not Ray. I don't know what happened. I have seen so much kindness and true caring on these channels are opposed to the others that I hope it does not undo the camaraderie that we have developed. I hope not. I really hope everybody can get along and still go towards our goals out there. And I hope it doesn't end when everybody gets on their feet. I hope everybody can go on and have learned a lesson from getting together to help somebody else out. It can be almost a lifetime initiative. Let's see. Oh, so Jenny says, "Hey, Ray, caught you live." I'm not standing up for the donor because I don't trust him, but I will stand up for Guapo. I think you're right, Bonnie. I can't disagree with that at all. Pep says, "Lori, me too." Fair weather fans, you're going to find out people will make decisions and then come back around to the right thing eventually, usually, or most of the time. Ed says, Guapo likes to see the positive in people. He doesn't quite understand why some people are wary of David. Uh, I can't add to or take away from that, Ed. Sometimes it is what it is, and I hate that statement. It is what it is. Uh, uh, Afternoon Warriors family, Jenny says that. I'm having YouTube issues. Can everyone see me? I see you, Tiny Tim. I see that, yep. Road King, he sees you too. It's a beautiful thing when everyone works together for the common goals. That's to help, love, and love others. That's true, Stacy. Oh, I know there's not the usual number in here today with the things that are going on, the inauguration today, and They were when I came out here, they were attending their luncheon today, and that's been live on TV. There's no way I'm going to be able to compete with the inauguration of a president. That's for sure. uh, yeah, it says Guapo didn't see the good in the other 200 people in the chat that he was calling trolls. It was the heat of the moment, I think. It's too early to tell. Now, Betty says, I'm still sub to Guapo. I stand by the fact he is 30 years old and it's time to think before he speaks. We all trip over our tongue sometime, don't we? Darwin says, always be cautious when money is given out. I agree with that, Darwin. You're a wise person. Although I don't do a lot on your channel, I do listen when I have time to get in and out. I appreciate your wisdom. Oh. Lana says, Guapo's great. Don't be taking his giveaways and then talking about him. Okay, Lana. It's pretty easy for me to say that I'm watching who I would accept anything from when I don't ask anything. And it's one of those deals where when I retired, I didn't want to work any longer. I earned the retirement, and I didn't want to make a job out of anything. And as soon as you go on something like this and you start monetizing, it becomes a job again. With me, I come and go, and I don't run this channel like somebody that was going to make money. If you really want to make money, you have to be on at the same time and the same day throughout. You have to set up a pattern so that people will set time aside for you to come in. And when you do it sporadically like I do, it'll never be a successful channel. So you could say that I'm not doing anything correctly on this channel. I'm clear out of the norm. It's the sporadically is because I'm retired and I just never wanted to be held to a schedule again. I hate schedules. Says Creative Crafter says, remember that Guapo needs to be focused on his auctioneer's license as he goes to court tomorrow. Thanks to Germ, so we should cut him some slack. Yeah, it's kind of rough when you work with somebody and they're your good friend, and then they turn on you, and you don't even know it. And they've been on your case for over a year, trying to undermine you, and you didn't even realize it. It's got to be tough on a person. And when it happens very often, it'll make you very calloused. It's not something you get over easily. And when a good friend, like they apparently were, it was one-sided apparently. I don't know what is going on between the two of them in real terms. And we can only hope for the best. I certainly don't want any ill things to come to Guapo. I don't think he deserves the shit end of the stick in any way. Oh, yeah, he was allowing the drama from the donor. Like I say, money and the need for it can make it hard for you. Okay. Let's see. Says Guapo's actually enjoying learning about being an auctioneer. I would think it would be pretty neat. Yeah, Lorraine, I believe in the same way. Yeah, yeah, I know. I At this time I don't have dementia, but the day is going to come where I will have it probably if I live long enough. And a good number of people my age do have dementia. Now, quite frankly, I could go clear back to when I was 2 years old or 2 minutes ago. So I don't have any of the things that dementia brings on, but I do have the physical attributes of somebody my age. Uh, my speech is somewhat um, delayed. I'm not as fast as I was. The other thing is, I had a stroke on this side of my face, and sometimes a little bit of saliva comes out of my mouth. I still have some partial numbness from time to time, and the effect was on my right side. I was able to get through it, but there's always a certain amount of damage. The other thing is, I don't have feelings in my legs, surface feelings. Part of that's due to the damage of the my back, and some of it was due to my stroke. My right leg is much worse than my left, so sometimes you can see it when I'm walking. But for the most part, I've been back almost 100% since that stroke, and that stroke was when I was still working. I was 64 years old when that happened, so it's been a long time ago. Uh, it happens. The older you get, the more things are going to happen. As far as the dementia part, uh, I've had a lot of people come from Jeremy's uh, group, people that follow him, and a lot of them like to use that as a negative term for me, and that's fine. If they, a lot of people that are over there are there because of their personalities are so attuned to Jeremy. That's my opinion. And I realized a long time ago that there's no way that some of them could ever be changed. They're there because of what they are. And they feed on things like that. There are people that feed on negativity. And when they come into your channel, you can let them talk or you can get rid of them. It's real easy. Oh, it says, have to leave as I have grandma duty. So have a great rest of your day, and to all those here, and keep up with your words of wisdom, Ray. You are a true inspiration to many. I hope so. Creative crafter, that was quite a compliment. Bonnie says, I'm 72 and I'm not young. I've been around the block a few times. It's harder for me to get around the block anymore physically, but I know what you're talking about. Money corrupts and donation money corrupts absolutely. Well, I'm gonna let me give you a scenario. Uh, Lisa has been attacked because of the funding that went into her channel, and she has a big heart, and she has given more of herself than most people could even think of. Not only did she collect and distribute the funds, uh, and she did it in a way that people that follow her channel know it. They know that. And she said she was going to do something, and she did it. And when she shows you documentation, she don't flip it up there and then flip it off before you get a chance to do anything with it. If she shows you a conversation, she shows you what happened before and after, so that you get the full concept of it. She doesn't give you a sentence without giving you the paragraph. That's the type of person that you want to be around and believe. So when there's a donation that comes in, she has no problem of giving it away. She does have a big heart. I'm going to follow her. Uh, it's that's just the way it is. Okay. Uh, Shay, you're smarter than a lot of us. God has you, Mr. Ray. You're a good man. Delete the word dementia from your mind. Well, one of the reasons I get on here, obviously, is because I'm worried about it. One of these days, it's going to happen. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it. So if you sit back and just daydream, that's what happens. You go into a stage where that's all you can do, and it's hard to talk. If you go back to my early videos on here, I wasn't talking, my mouth wasn't moving as much. It was because I wasn't used to talking. I had my early part, I was more and more isolated as I retired. And you lose that ability to speak. And you get to the point where you have a lot of stops and starts that don't make sense. It just happens. And then when you go back and look at it and you see the mistakes, then you have to go over it again and do it. So dementia, as you age, you're always fighting that portion of it. Everybody that ages is naturally going to slow down. It happens. That's the way it is. I look forward to some day of meeting the Lord, and I hope it happens before I lose all my facilities, mentally or physically. Let's see. That live does not show now, so not sure if he moved it. Who are you? Who's that? I'm still alive, but I'm not sure who you were talking about. Money is not evil. The love of money brings evil to something that could be good. Yeah, it's what you do with it or what you're willing to do for it. Oh, somebody was yesterday that was live. I don't know. I try not to, but I did watch a little bit of another channel out there, and it was disgusting. I just don't want to go into a long term on it. It's hard enough to keep up with everything else. I would trust Lisa to babysit a child. I wouldn't trust Jeremy to do the time of dose or even to dog sit. Okay. I got to believe that too. I was careful. My wife and I were careful about people that were around our children, and for good reason. People, it's hard to tell their intentions sometimes, until it's too late. Let's see. I don't have a notification that he went live. So. It says, Road King says Lisa's an angel that was put in the right place at the right time. Yeah, she is. When I seen her channel, I was just about to the point where I wasn't going to make any more channels up. I was just going to get out of the race, if you want to call it that. I felt bad for Michelle and John at the time. And quite frankly, Lisa kind of picked up the slack and was out there doing things. And I thought, this is a person that will get it done. And that instinct was correct. She did get it done. Oh. Yeah. Purrs and Feral Tales. Tempers were hot that day. Things were said. Mistakes were made. Feelings were hurt. And we can all we can do is learn from it and move on. Christy Nunez talking about Guapo Ray. No, I'm just repeating what I seen up here in the chat. Says Ray, you do not have dementia. I hope not. I want to tell you, when people get dementia, I don't think they really realize it too much. Now, as far as forgetting things, sometimes I forget my keys, but it's because I don't care anymore. When I retired, I put my billfold up on the shelf, and I took my phone and put it on the counter. And I check the phone once in a while, not necessarily every day, to see if somebody called me. It's a matter of when you move into another phase of your life, your priorities change, and certainly mine changed when I retired. And the things that kept me worried and guided my life. I hated the telephone the whole time I worked. Before they had the modern phones, they had pagers out there, and I wore a pager, and I hated that thing. You'd get this thing with a number on it where you had to call back to the office. They wanted you for some reason. Then you had to find a landline to go call back, and it just bugged me to. But then when I put a phone in my pocket, I was always answering the phone in my pocket, a slave to it. And one of the guys that worked in the field like I did, he said, "Throw it in your office desk, and just go back at break time and lunchtime and look at it, and then you can return calls. They'll get the point." Oh, let's see. I didn't see Mo in here. Doggone it! Somehow I missed it. Hi, Mo. There he is. Oh, I see him. Thanks for coming in, Mo. Tiny Tim says, just finished cutting 24 acres of winter hay. Got to beat the storm. I'm 64 and can't sit on my butt, stay active, and live forever. Where in the heck do you get your winter hay at? Oh, let's see. Being retired is definitely different. I agree with that. That was Bonnie. I love it. Man, I can't believe the freedom that a person has. It's like being back in your teens again, where the parents took on the stress of bringing the income in, and the worrying about how to feed a family and keep a roof over their head and stuff like that. When you're retired, if you've done it right, everything is just there. That first year I retired, the hardest thing to get used to was I wasn't out there earning money. The money was already there that I'd earned, and now it was time to spend it instead of saving. Lifetime of habits. Let's see what else we got here. Everybody else is saying hi to Mo too. Let's see. Road King says, I get a memory test every year, even if I don't want one. Ooh. I don't know how good I do on a memory test, although I remember things that happen. So it's enough so I can get by. Wow, Tiny Tim said he's been retired since he was 54. Man, I wish I could have retired younger. That's one of the things, physically, after you've retired, when you get up into your 60s and 70s, you're limited a little bit. It's not the same. You're not going to be climbing mountains like you did when you were young, that's for sure. Oh. Ed, who you say you think they blocked you? Who did that? I mean, from what channel? I guess I'm not aware of it, Ed. Draw a clock, and who's the president, and what year is it? Well, that's too easy. We know who's president. He got inaugurated today. Do you know which president he was? The number? And the year's easy too. Like I say, today was inauguration day, and which president is he now? What's the number on it? And drawing a clock is very easy. Do you draw your circle clockwise or counterclockwise? See, I draw it clockwise. I go like this, and now on there, of course, it's wrong. But what I'm telling you is I go from left to right to draw the circle, and then I put the numbers in. And no, I don't put the one at the top. I cock it off a little bit to the right. And depending on whether it's military or civilian, it's either the numbers go up to 12 or they go to 24 if you're to fill a day in. One's a 12-hour clock, and the other is a 24-hour. Oh, let's see. Momo has me blocked. What? From where? uh, can everybody see Ed in here, please? Oh, oh. Lorraine said she just mentally blocked you. Love you anyway, Ed. It took me a while to get used to Ed, but I'm used to it. Current choice. When I speak, I get ignored by some content creators. Makes me think God's telling me they are not right for me. Well, let me ask you this, current choice. Did you send me a message about looking at something? Anyway, I try to look and see what people have on here, and I don't always respond right away. But uh, if I put the little mark on there on your when you follow me and down below and make comments, you know that I looked at it and read it. I guarantee you that I don't go through and just boom 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 boom. I read every single comment. I don't. It's hard for me to read it on here because if I'm talking, doing two things at a time, I can do one well, but two only half-assed. So, Lori said I retired at 50, but still doing yard sales and fundraisers. Yeah, that could be harder than a job itself. It's still a job. Oh, let's see. Buckeye says they see you, Ed. Were you hiding? Bonnie says, yeah, we see it. Okay. All right. So you're not blocked. It says, I'm fine with people blocking me. Not everyone likes me, and I don't expect anyone to. Best way to tell if you've been ghosted is to go back there and look at and you'll see it. And then unsub from whoever it is, go back and look and see if you can find it. And if you're not on there, then you know you were ghosted. It says all my friends were dying at 60 plus. And I said, nope, not me. I'm getting out while I can still climb mountains. That's good, Tiny. Well, a doctor told me I wasn't going to get to 60, so I fooled him. Let's see. Nine Chins also apparently blocked me. Doggone it, Ed, what'd you do to all these people? Let's see, Ray, I put up a private video and tagged you in it. Well, I'll have to go look at it. Lori, I think you're one of my, I didn't check out to see your videos, but I will. Oh. Yeah, Dreamweaver says, I caught you live. I put a little notification up this time. I don't normally do that. Bonnie says she does a once-a-year craft show in March, and I do more, but hubby needs me to help with his projects. Oh, Mary's Homestead. Howdy, Ray. Bitter Fisherman. I do memory tests every 3 months, Ray. All right. How can you remember to do them every 3 months? Dreamweaver, did you get the Elvis thingy? Oh, let's see. It says, Mo, I see he means no harm. Babs must be talking about Ed. Hey, I've been to your channel a few times, current Chejos. Ed said he hadn't done anything to them. Well, see, you're so far away up north up there, they can't get to you. That's why. Oh, let's see. Enjoy your videos. Miguel Gorilla. Cindy Clark. Hi, Ray. Hi, Cindy. I've worked harder after retirement. That's from Tiny Tim. I know the feeling. There's a lot of times where I did work harder. I've got so many projects going. I thought I'd always be able to keep on top of them, but when uh, when you have a choice to do or not do, you have days where you relax and take it easy. And I do a lot of relaxing, although I create the work for myself, I guess, in real terms. I'm always picking something up else to do, and then when I get bored with it, I set it down and go to the next one. So I'll bet you says need to turn the heater on in Ohio. But right now, it's cold, very cold. It says Ed says he's sarcastic, blunt, and honest, and don't like that. And some don't like that. Yeah, sometimes you get kicked out of channels. You're talking to somebody who knows that. Don't forget being bossy. Christy's reminding you, Ed. Uh, let's see. Dreamweaver says she's waiting for a box. Lord, Tiny Tim's got a bunch of thumbs up. So, Lisa was in here earlier. Did something happen? I don't see her in here right now. Let's see if I can. Yeah. I don't know if something's going on. Lisa was here as a mod a little bit ago. I don't see her on here. Let's see what's going on there. Oh. I'm still here, everybody. So I was just looking for something here. I'll be right back in there. I just wanted to check. Okay. I was just checking. I wanted to see if Lisa was on here earlier. Now she's gone. Does anybody know what happened? Dreamweaver says, "Love all your videos." Thank you, Dreamweaver. She's probably quietly watching. Okay. uh, Road King. Yeah, I did uh, see your thing there about where you ended up with a cat out of the deal. I never was much of a cat person, but I got to admit, when that little cat was all curled up by my garage and wet and starved and ribs showing, uh, it about broke my heart to see that. It's funny, uh, and I looked at the comparison. And my wife and I, we love our different pups that we've had over the years, and our cat. We hate to call it a cat or a dog. They honestly are more than that to us because we love them so much, and of course they return it. And I thought, when you're going, I don't care where you're at, but if you see a hurt animal and you want to help it, your heart goes out to it. You might even bring tears. But a lot of times, if we see a person in that kind of condition, we don't look at it in the same light. And I don't know why. Uh, it always had bothered me to see people that were having such a rough time. And I guess it's because, in the era where I came up, a lot of people didn't have much, very little. And they had such big hearts because even like the love of food that I have when I talk about it, I know you've seen it the other day. And back then, everybody would come with gifts of food. It was just, even though they didn't have much, they gave what they had. And that's a heart gift. And today, everything is different. We see somebody that's in a bad shape or something, and it's almost like we have a disdain for them, that they're not able to get up and walk or get up and earn a living, or just all these things that we think of. And I don't know how, as the human race got so in that manner. It's not necessarily, I just don't know what happened, I guess. Somehow we've lost track of the Christian morals that we may have been taught at one time, if we even had the opportunity to find out that there are such a thing. Today's people, there's a lot of them that just don't have a realization of what our Lord does for us on a regular basis. I just don't know what to say about that, but we love our pets. And if we loved our neighbors like we love our pets, what a world we'd have. Uh, hmm. Mo said, did anyone else feel like Wapo's appearance statements last night in Two Lee's was forced? I don't, I was in there in Lee's thing for a while. I don't remember seeing the chats, but I don't know what was going on. But I didn't see it all. I haven't had a chance to look at the. I went to bed. I think it was around 10:30 or 11, something like that. Funny Sonny said, my biggest memory issues are remembering who I said what to. I would make a terrible liar. That is one thing about lies. It's hard to remember them, no matter how good your mind is. Uh, Mary asked you, Pebs, are you feeling better? Oh, funny Sonny, mine is forgetting what I went to the other room for. Okay, Bonnie. uh, you can always claim I don't recall. Yeah, kind of like doing a depot. Says Dreamweaver, Ray, I was put on my heart to write a few songs for Jesus this past month. Do you ever sing them on YouTube, Dreamweaver? I could probably get a lot of people coming to your channel, by the way. Pep says, I live in one room and lose my keys and remote all at the same time. Tie a string around your finger. That's what they used to tell me when I was a kid. Oh, my biggest memory issue is why I walked into the kitchen. Well, the thing of it is, no matter why I walk into the kitchen, it doesn't take long for me to figure out I'm hungry. As soon as I look in the refrigerator, I look for leftovers. When I look into the pantry, I'm looking for cookies, candy, and whatever else we might have hidden in there. It says something about "Let's go Buckeyes." You guys aren't from Ohio, are you? So Monica says, when my sister forgets what she was going to get, she has she has to do a rewind. uh, Mine is looking for my glasses everywhere while they're on my eyes the whole time. Have you ever have you ever got to the end of the day and maybe you got onto your computer and you look up and you're thinking, boy, my screen's dirty. Only to find out it was your glasses. By the way, see this? I've got one of these on my stand uh, so I can clean my glasses off. I don't know how they get so messed up, but they sure do. It says, watching, listening kind of reminds me of extended family dinners and growth on my voice box. But I put uh, music to them with AI. I can send them to you, Ray, and you can sing them if you like. Give them a send. Put them on my channel. I'll take them. Oh, Mrs. Tom says, hi, Ray. How you doing, Mrs. Tom? The Buckeyes they're live today. Perhaps when you can't remember to try and remember. That's called dream state. When you get to dream state, that's what happens. Dreamweaver says, I also gifted my guitar to a young girl years ago, and today she has her own music CDs out. Wow. If you can imagine, my dad hated loud noises. And of all the instruments to play in a band, I picked a cornet. And I would play either cornet or trumpet. And we lived in a 3-room house. There were 6 of us lived in that house. Can you imagine me practicing that cornet or that trumpet in that little house? And my dad, like I say, my dad hated loud noises. And there was a lot of times where I went out in the yard and would play it. I'm surprised our neighbors didn't turn me in for disturbing the peace. And I did that from 5th grade on. I started playing that thing in 5th grade. I feel sorry for those neighbors, and I'm surprised my parents could even tolerate it. Those early years, it gets pretty squawky. Let's see. Pam says, Gammy says, love you, Ray. Well, thank you, Pam. You have to send it through my on my YouTube if you can. Just do do you know how to copy it on YouTube and then send it to me through my YouTube channel? The reason I don't have an email out there, is to keep from getting doxxed. Uh, when I first got on here, which is, I've had this channel over 10 years, and the emails can get you a lot of unwanted company. And I apologize for not having something out there, but it is, you got to be very careful of what you do. Sometimes when you use those different avenues of social media, it's very easy for people to get back on you. And in my early days, I had one of my accounts attacked twice out in North Carolina. And I'm just careful. It's once you're doxxed, and if you have people out there, they sometimes uh, it's very easy to, let's say, send a Trojan horse, and through that they can get out, infiltrated out into your system, and every account you have eventually gets nailed, and it's almost impossible to stop that. The only way you can is you have to change all your accounts over, including financial and business accounts and the stuff on here. I know it sounds far-fetched, but today it's not safe to have all those accounts. The last time I had something happened. My son on his Facebook account had opened Pandora's box, if you will, and I received things on here that I didn't want to receive, not on YouTube, but to my home email address. And I do have more than one email address, but I'm very careful because through Google and through your email and your iPhone. I don't have my iPhone in here, but I've got Apple. Anyway, there's your savings app or sharing app, which is the same one that helps you get your GPS. Will automatically go from tower to tower if you're between two towers that are different than your home tower. I'm trying to think what else, but it's dangerous mainly in Facebook more than anything else. But between Apple, or not Apple, but Facebook and Google, there isn't anything that can't be found out about you once you get attacked with somebody's Trojan horse that's out there. So please bear with me on some of the things that I do, and I'm not being paranoid. I'm just telling you, there's a lot of things out there that can bring your, not just your channel down, but your entire life. I still got one hanging out there that has tried to use my name and past addresses and stuff. And that whoever is doing it is quite a bit younger than I am. Now they haven't been able to get into financial accounts or anything like that. They're completely separate from the stuff I've got. But I'm very careful with it. And Wells Fargo refused to give me who had got into my accounts on the Wells Fargo. But it happened more than once. So I'm just letting you know I'm careful, very careful. It's rare for me to give too much private information out. Maybe things will change where we can actually get a more of a protection so that people can't come in there and get on your channel and go crazy. One of the reasons, just to let you know, TikTok is a Chinese venue, for lack of better words. And that particular app I was talking about on there cannot be taken down. It's the only one that does not give you an avenue to remove. On the other hand, what happens is, let's say you sign up for an app here or there. A lot of times that sharing app is sneaked back in, even though you keep on top of it. Because it's happened to me once or twice, actually. Now I'm careful. I know where to look for it, so I go after it and remove it. I don't let anything update unless I personally look at the update. I'm not a tech, but I'm very protective of my private information. So sorry about that. Oh, let's see. Well, I've been on here quite a while now, uh, almost an hour and a half, and we probably should call it a day here pretty quick. The I know all of you spent quite a bit of your afternoon on here today, and I thank you all. And I hope you got enough information from me about how I felt about this. People and their rights to their channels, and as far as me changing my mind about how I feel about whether it's this David R. I call him David R. the gifter. I don't know enough about him to trust him. And the reason I have a dislike for him is the way he treated the channels and what he was trying to get them to do just because he gives them money and he starts getting a little, what do you call it? Bossy, if you want to call it. But I think it seems like there's more to it than that. And then the ties that go back maybe to somewhere else, that bothers me a little bit because I don't know. He sounded, or the way he was doing things is also remind me of one of the fellows that causes a lot of problems back there. And I know I don't want to impose my thoughts too much on everybody else. Everybody needs monetary things to survive. You can't buy groceries without money in your pocket. You can't have a roof over your head. Can't pay utilities. Can't pay the doctor, medicine, all those. And you need that. And I just don't want to cut off an avenue for people out there that need that. And when I looked at it, I realized that I was imposing my beliefs on somebody else, and I could be all wet. This David, maybe his intentions weren't to bring our channels down, but it could very well be a reason. And for that reason, I'm not too much for it. Not unless I knew more about him. And he's kept pretty much private as far as how he's operating back to himself. And I did try to do a little search, and I didn't. There's too many people with his name, especially in England, if he really is from there. Anyway, I'll go back over some of the live stuff here later, and I'll probably see you on the other channels from time to time. I'm so far, nobody else is. Guapo's the only one that was upset about people going into his channel and making comments like that. Nobody, let me tell you, nobody likes to have comments that would disparage somebody that is given a gift of money. In other words, if you go after somebody in the chat that is actually given a gift, you'll get hammered. That's just the way money can really separate best friends. That happens. I don't know. Now here I am. I'm stumbling a little bit because I don't want to blame anybody for doing what they have to do to put food on the table. It's that's one of our main instincts that we have. Food is the number one. I could go through all the different instincts, but some could be embarrassing. Who knows? Yeah, Pep says the germ said he had a high mole, and we're gonna be surprised. And I believe that. I'm not sure. This David seems to fit that part, and Jeremy could be using that word to make it so that nobody will take the gifts to. The only thing I would say, and boy, it was so easy to get a fight going in the chat with money. Uh, I wish it would have never happened, and I do wish that people could have those gifts without those kind of strings. The fighting in the chat that happened, and the heck of it is, your base will try to protect the creator. They follow him because they like what they're saying or doing, and then somebody out here gets butthurt, in the chat itself, and you have this fight going on, and then you have somebody that might stir it. And I felt that David is the type that's stirring it, and I don't know why. I can only guess. And the big thing was that the number one tie is the people that Jeremy is after. This guy visits. So either he's against Jeremy or he's for him. I mean, that's only two conditions I can see. If he's against, maybe he's against all people. Maybe he likes to stir the pot. I don't know. But they're just thoughts. That's all they are. I have no backing. Just it's strictly my opinion. I've seen it in business, and in business, it's very easy to tell. Greed is always there, the number one thing on the table at a board meeting. It shows overwhelmingly. The reason when you sit around in a board meeting, the only reason any of you are there is to figure out what you're going to do with the money or how you're going to get it, and what do you have to do or what are you going to have to succumb to meet all the goals that you set on that board. It can tear you apart. All right, well, all right. I hope all of you had a good day today, and not sure what. Like I said, I don't know what happened to Lisa. Doggone it, but anyway, I hope nothing happened that's upset her in any way. She's a pretty busy person, so it's hard to keep everything in check. So goodbye, everybody out there. I'm going to end the stream, and thank you for participating today. And hopefully there wasn't too much infighting. I didn't see a whole lot out there where people were too upset with each other, so maybe everything worked out. I'll see you everybody later. See you on one of the other streams, and that's it for today.